This presentation should help answer the common question of, can I afford a divorce? And usually that has to do with, can I afford the expense that goes along with having an attorney represent me throughout the course of my divorce proceedings? Before we begin, it's important to understand that the information you obtain at this site is not, nor is it intended to be, legal advice. And you should always consider contacting an attorney before moving forward with any lawsuit. Now, as for the basics, what the minimum cost will be for this divorce that you're about to go through, it's going to be at least a few $100s, probably many hundreds of dollars before you're done. And the reason for that is there's some fee associated with just filing the original petition for divorce. Beyond that, there's a fee with getting your spouse served and also some other court costs and expenses. And that's before you're talking about attorney's fees. And that brings me to the next question, is who's going to pay for this attorney? Are you going to pay for the attorney? Does your spouse have to pay for the attorney? How does that work? Well, as a general rule, you are going to pay for your attorney. And there are some exceptions as general rules go, where your spouse would actually pay for your attorney as well as their attorney. And it really depends on the circumstances. And that's what I'd like to discuss, is what a court considers when it decides to award some fees be paid on behalf of your spouse and some fees be paid directly to your attorney if you choose to get representation. So the circumstances under which your spouse would be paying for your attorney is when you lack the financial resources to pay for your own attorney. One common example is if you're a homemaker. If you've been a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad for the last number of years and don't currently have a job, well, there's a chance that you lack the financial resources and don't have the access to funds necessary to properly defend yourself and secure your rights. So one thing you could do is pursue through the courts, pursue some attorney's fees to be paid by your spouse. And also that usually goes hand in hand with pursuing some access to funds that you're rightfully entitled to. The next circumstance or example is when your spouse does have financial resources. It just so happens you don't have significant financial resources compared to them. And an example of that is when your spouse is a physician and you've been a struggling entrepreneur or trying to do a startup business or had odd jobs here and there. Well, that happens all too often, and if your spouse is a high wage earner, you may very well be entitled to what's called interim attorney's fees, or for your spouse to pay for the benefit of you having an attorney. Lastly, there's the consideration the court will think about, and that is, do you have a need for representation? If both you and your spouse are unrepresented, it really depends on the circumstances whether you need representation or not. Now, if your spouse has already gone out and hired an attorney and served you with an original petition for divorce, the chances of you needing representation have just gone up. And it's always a good idea to speak with an attorney, even if it's a free consultation, just to speak with an attorney to find out what rights you have and also maybe what rights you don't have and what you should expect throughout the course of your divorce. If you have specific questions about your case or want some more information from an attorney at Zinda & Davis, feel free to give us a call. The phone number is 512-246-2224, and we'd be happy to assist you. Thank you very much.